Okay, to talk more about this now, and joining me, Fox News contributor and the co-author of Borrowed Time, James Freeman, along with former Utah Congressman and Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz, and Vision 4 Fund Distributors Vice President Heather Zumarraga. Thank you all for being here. Jason, let me begin with you. Just when we think we could get something going, then this story breaks, and Toronto Star reports these, off-the-record comments. Apparently they weren't off the record because someone got hold of them and then shared them. And in that, President Trump says, you know what, I'm not going to compromise with Canada. And he also says, apparently, they have no choice. They have to deal with this. The timing of this couldn't be worse, could it?
Well, it always gets more intense at the finish line, but yeah. I think you saw Justin Trudeau saying something that Donald Trump, I think, would actually say, saying that no deal is better than a bad deal. And that's the reason the president has brought this to the forefront. Remember, it would have continued on in perpetuity if not for President Trump holding line and setting a deadline of today. There's nothing like a deadline to drive a discussion.
Are you optimistic something gets done?
I am. I think that the fact that Mexico has come to the table, I think, does help to push Canada. But you just don't know in these last few hours.
A lot can happen. James, what say you? I mean, it certainly is a fly in the ointment. Just when we thought they were coming together, we got the deal done with Mexico, and now we have these comments from the president that have surfaced, and in Canadian media, of course, having a field day with it.
Yeah, I think politicians, really anybody in a negotiation, you need to go back and show your team that you got something done. You can't go home and say we just got run over. But I think there is an obvious win-win here, and that is that Canada allows a little easier time for U.S. dairy products coming in.
Okay.
And Mr. Trump says, yes, we'll keep that dispute resolution process that Canada likes because, look, if he gets the trade deal he wants, he doesn't need to keep putting tariffs on. He's told us all along these tariffs are to force the deal that he wants. Once he gets it, let them have that resolution process, which limits the ability of any of these countries to put in new tariffs.
But, James, is it almost like dealing with the Chinese? In order to be able to find a deal, you have to save face for your opposition as well. Something that Trudeau can go back to the Canadian public and say, look, we did win. We got this.
Right. I mean, you might say even more than the Chinese, because obviously we have a congressional election in a few months, and Mr. Trudeau has an election next year. So yes, this needs to be something you can sell to the public. But I think the Canadians also should realize that a lot has been done already in this treaty that they wanted. Some of it I wouldn't want, you might not want, but it's not like Canada got nothing in this deal.
Right.
They backed a lot of the changes that are now part of it on the auto side.
They should come to the table and sign off. Heather, let me bring you in. You make a point. You say, look, 70% of Canadian exports go to the U.S., but only 18% of U.S. exports go to Canada. In other words, they need this a lot more than we do. That should give us a pretty strong position.
It sure does, but at the end of the day, we both need each other. I think it's important. Congress wants a trilateral deal between U.S., Mexico, and Canada, and they, in the end, ultimately have congressional authority, not just the president. And you're right, Canada has just as much or more to lose than we do in this deal. And if the point of contention is over having a quick arbitration process, I think that can be solved. However, if it's over spilled milk, meaning dairy penalties and tariffs, or in your case, Ashley, the UK would say spilt milk.
Yes, thank you.
Then I'm not sure that a trade war should ensue just over that type. I would say, concessions need to be made in that case.
And let's follow up, Heather, with the bigger picture here. Ultimately, we can get a deal done with Mexico and Canada, get something done with the EU. All eyes then focus on China. You think it's a pretty high-stakes kind of a game of chicken we're playing right now with China with the tariffs?
It really is. And the point with China is very different from our grievances with Canada and Mexico protecting our U.S. automakers. With China, it's more about forced intellectual property, theft, and forced joint ventures and subsidies that their government provides. So it's a different ball game with China. A lot more tariffs are on the table, threaten $200 billion worth of goods, to another 25% coming next week, perhaps. But so far, only $50 billion worth of goods from both sides at a rate of 25% tax or tariff on those right now. So this is important. I think China's watching, but they're going to operate on their own timeline and their own schedule.
Let me bring back in Jason. We had some low-level, most recently, negotiations with China. It didn't seem to go anywhere. Now we have the announcement from Ford saying, you know what, this Chinese-made small Ford Focus that we were going to bring here, we're not going to do it anymore. We just don't want to have to deal with the tariffs. That puts more pressure on China, right? Because they got to find somewhere to sell the car.
They do. It's a big segment, a big market. And as somebody who rents a lot of cars, I'm kind of glad to hear this, because you get stuck in a Ford Focus, you're in bad shape. But I love Ford. I drive Fords, but I don't want to drive that Ford Focus. So that's very selfish on me, but on my own part. But I think the fact that we've been moving forward with Europe, we're making progress with Mexico. I do think we can work out the things with Canada. That puts more pressure on China along the way.
Yeah.
But also, there are a lot of other Asian countries that I think, our relationship with South Korea and the automaking that goes on there, this all plays into it. And it does play into the North Korean politics of what's going on in our ability to make sure that we've got strong sanctions against North Korea.
Do you like the way the president, Jason, has gone about this?
Yeah, he's taken a very tough stance, unconventional. I think he's got a little bit of, you just don't know exactly where he's going to go to him. And I think that's great in negotiation, but he has the power of the U.S. market to back it up. I think they know that he's serious about this and just about crazy enough to actually implement these tariffs that scares the other side into actually striking a deal.
That's a good point, James, because, China, you feel like you're going to blink first.
Feel like we are, or they are?
No, they are. China's going to have to blink first because, to Jason's point, it seems Mr. Trump just negotiates like this is it, and he'll follow through with his threats, in other words. And that's got to be frightening for the Chinese, who are, we're hugely important to them. I know they are to us, but we can handle it a little better than they can.
Well, I think certainly frightening to them is the idea that we resolve this North American dispute. We resolve Europe, takes a little longer. But once it's the entire world saying, China, you've got to change, that is a situation they don't want to be in. And I think we really encouraging Hank Greenberg, insurance company executive, probably has done business in China more than anyone, writing in our paper the other day that Chinese leaders understand they have to change. Now, we haven't heard that so much from these negotiations.
Doesn't always happen quickly.
But so I don't think by today, like with the Canada thing, we're getting that done.
No.
But I think that's a situation where there would be a successful negotiation.
Very good. Heather, Heather, very
Jason,
quickly. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
10
what
seconds.
kind of car do you drive, Jason, if you're not driving a Ford?
I like the Explorer. We have one of those. I drove an F-150 for a long time, but that little Focus now.
If you say Mercedes or BMW or Porsche, you might be in some trouble or some heat from the viewers.
Heather.
And I.
He lives out west. He's out Utah boy.
Porsche,
yes, sir.
Yes, that sounds good.
I have to leave it right there. Does he have a BMW? No, he doesn't. All right. James, Jason, and Heather, thank you very much. Appreciate it.